Hello, welcome to Total Upgrade Inc. You are here at our Upgrading Talks. In our Upgrading Talks, we'll be talking about different topics. And in this particular topic for today, we are talking with relationships or about relationships. And on our relationship show today, we are going through a series of habits that I found on Instagram. And on these habits are from the couples that have stayed. Thank you, baby. Thank you for saving me. That have lasted over the years and decades, So these are habits that they have put in place into their lives and into their relationship. Is what we're going to be talking. And this is our episode number 5. If you haven't seen the other episodes previous to this, go ahead and click the link below. We're going to be going through the last 4 habits that we found, and what we're going to be doing is we talk about our relationship and our experiences and whether we are check marking these habits in our relationship. So far, we kind of have half a check mark on one of the topics. On one of the habits, we have half a check mark, and that.
But it's been good. It's been good
that
because
was our
most
date
of
night,
them,
right?
that was our date night.
Yeah, we have to religiously go date night, like make our date. Pick our day.
Make room for it, make a space for it, is like anything, it's a principle of energy. If you want something to really be in your life, you have to make the room for it. Yeah. So it's not only thinking about it, but like really kind of like put it in the calendar, in the schedule. So when you are looking at your calendar, but we're talking about a different.
Oh, yes, let's go. Let's go down. So number 14, here we go. Number 14, they say what they mean and mean what they say to each other. So this is obviously, it needs no explanation, but I'm going to explain it anyway. So I'm going to give you like our experiences and our examples. So what they mean what they say and they say what they mean. To me, what that tells me that to me is a check mark in ours, because what we say to each other is what is in our minds. I can't say that word, but we don't twinkle toe around the issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we address the elephant that's in the room, or if we're not happy with something, we actually say something, tell the person that we mean what we say, or if we're complimenting or uplifting or encouraging each other.
Genuine.
It's genuine because we mean what we say. Exactly. We don't give each other lip service. We don't give anybody lip service. Not even to our friends, because again, a lot of these habits can be taken out of the relationship and into your real life, with your friends, with your family, and coworkers.
Well, relationships is also real life.
Exactly. I mean, out of the lover's relationship and into the
romantic relationship.
Thank you, the romantic.
That word. All the relationships that you have.
Why does that word escape me? I've been trying to remember that word for the last 5 or 6 episodes. So the last 4 episodes, I was trying to remember the word romantic. It's like, wow, that's funny. So yes, it's a good. What do you think, baby? What do you say about this?
This is for us. Definitely something that we practice. It's also a habit of us because basically it's intertwined to a lot of things, because this is the bottom line. One habit will bring like that positive domino effect of other habits. Mm-hmm. And the same is true going in the other direction. So I'm saying that to say that, for example, if you have seen our previous episodes, or if you haven't yet, one of those is not going to bed angry with each other. So if we're angry with each other, so guess what? We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk it out, right? We will have to meet eye to eye and say, not try to win the argument, which was another habit there, but we're just enunciating our truth, saying our truth. Plain truth, without exaggerating or anything, this is what happened, and this is how it's affecting me, this is how I feel, this is whatever, right? But so having those things in mind is kind of like going backwards. And so by saying what we mean, right? Saying what we mean and mean what we say, we can avoid a lot of miscommunication. We can avoid a lot of arguments, misunderstandings.
Absolutely.
We can avoid a lot of the negative stuff and or we can grow, increase a lot of the positive stuff because we're also saying to each other what we mean. So if I say I love you, it's not just a loose word that we're saying love you. You know, sometimes we say it jokingly, but the bottom line is when we're saying it, we actually mean it.
Yeah, the intention behind it.
Absolutely. So then words are powerful, but also they become so much more powerful with the energy intentionally behind it. So, you know, sometimes we say something and that affects, but depending where you're coming from, the energy that you're saying that word, it can be exponentially much more, you know, in one or other direction. I hope that I didn't mess you up. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does.
Okay, so let's move
Okay.
to the next question.
Next question.
The next habit.
Yes, the next question.
The next habit
Yeah.
is habit number 15. They listen intently before replying.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? There is no perfect, as there is no perfect relationship. Every habit can be improved, you know, but I really believe it, right? So we're pretty good at this, but this has not come just like out of the blue, you know. This is something that we have worked on. Every single episode, every chat that we're having with you guys, we keep talking about one thing in common, and is the garden. The garden, a relationship, no matter what, but especially a romantic relationship, is like a garden. You know, it is beautiful, and there are so many components. You know, there are so many things that if you don't pay attention, you know, like the weeds or the birds or whatever, can take away your seeds. There are not gonna be any flowers or anything like that. So they listen intently before replying. So that's exactly it. So before we react or anything like that, we have been exercising this muscle. We have been watering the garden. That's what I mean by it. So we have been practicing this to become better at it, not to assume. So if my baby's saying something to me, so the whole point is not going to assume and give the interpretation that I think is what it means, but truly to understand what is it that you're saying, what does that mean, where are you coming from, all those series of things, you know, all those aspects. So listen intently before replying. This is something that we have worked on a lot, because again, if there is a little bit of a heat going on, you know, and then my baby says something and then I wasn't fully present there, and then I just reply something, you know, I wasn't listening intently, right? So then that can just lead into a bad spiral. Like, you know, I didn't understand properly, then I got offended, then I say something, and then what you're talking about, and then you say something back. So it can become a mess that it can be avoided by this great healthy habit. Hence why, you know, these couples have lasted so long, because it just helps you, you know, to avoid so much of the negative energy, and it just helps you to increase and grow, you know, the positive energy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
I agree. And to add to that, I still struggle with the listening intently. I tend to kind of react sometimes when I hear things, and because I didn't pay attention to it and intently listen to her. So there are days where, a few days, not many, a lot fewer than before.
that's what I mean. We have been working on it. Yeah.
Exactly. So and it goes again back to the communication, where when an argument ensues, the more present person has the responsibility to calm themselves down, take a breath, and allow the other person to release whatever needs to be released. But with her, what she does, she allows it. When I don't listen intently and I start reacting, she'll be like, "Baby, did you hear what I said?" And I'll be like, "Yes." No. So she communicates back to me in a nice, peaceful, and calm manner about whether or not have I listened to her intently. And 90% of the time I probably didn't listen. That's why I reacted. So this is a very important key to the relationship and communication, because communication is definitely top of the list in priorities in a relationship.
Especially in our relationship, at least.
Respect and communication is one of the most important things in a relationship. And if you don't have that, you're not gonna be present to each other, you're not gonna listen to each other, and arguments are gonna ensue, and it just gets into a bigger
It
mess.
just gets messy, chaotic, it just keeps growing and growing. It truly is like an avalanche. An avalanche didn't grow, it wasn't big from the get-go. It started tiny. But if we don't manage it, right? Like that tiny thing is, like something that pop up, in the relationship.
Snowball effect.
Yeah. And if you don't stop that snowball right there before it really gets momentum, and that is so big, is so strong, that it knocks whatever is on the way, literally and figuratively speaking, right? So that's what we have become good at it, and we continue working on it. That if we see that, like a little snowball is forming up, hey, we have to stop it. This is too precious. You are too precious to me. I'm too precious to you. Our relationship is too precious to the two of us. This is our treasure. So it's like being guarding, being alert, taking care of that. It doesn't happen just by chance. It really happens by being present and be intentional about how we are with each other. It is sort of like a full-time job, especially like at the beginning. But once that the dynamics are down, now that we understand, now that we have that we know, like our boundaries, now that we understand so many things. So now, like anything else, it becomes like second nature. It becomes now a lifestyle. So now it's not about trying not to scream. It's just that now it's not part of the relationship, which is with
program,
exactly, which is with us in many aspects. But again, it was constantly watering the garden. And that means like constantly talk, like conversation, communication, like really, what do you mean by that? Something I have my cup of tea here, and here I'm touching it. I'm like, it's super hot. And maybe he touches it, it's like, oh, that's not hot, that's cold. Our level of resistance towards the heat is different. But for me, it's hot and it feels hot. So kind of like be mindful when you're passing me the cup of tea, sort of speak, right? So is exactly that. Is like be present, really be mindful in well, these conversations are interesting because you start with one thing, but you can expand so much because it has like so many ramifications, and then you start thinking about it, situations and examples and stuff like that. And but anyways, I think that you guys get the hang of it.
So yes, we do listen to each other intently, and it's one of the most important aspects of our relationship, because it is the most important thing in communication. And that's not just in a romantic relationship, that's in your life relationship, your friendships, your family, co-workers. So all relationships, if you do not listen intently, you will not fully understand what the person is trying to convey, and then misunderstandings, misalignments start to happen. And that's when the arguments come up, because the misalignments aren't connecting properly. And then
that's why there is a misalignment.
So number 15,
they refuse to play the blame game
unless it's her fault. And that is absolutely not true. It's nobody's fault in anything. There is no such thing as fault. Again, it just goes right back to misalignment. It's like if we're not, we will never blame each other for our responsibility in our relationship, because everybody, each of us, have a responsibility in our relationship. And to blame somebody else for what they've done to you or what you've done to them, it's not right. It's, you got to take responsibility of what your actions have done, and if
accept the consequences.
If the cause was something, it doesn't matter who created that cause or whose fault the cause was. The question is more how's it going to be fixed, or how's it going to get fixed. I'm going on a tangent. I kind of lost track of my train of thought, so my train jumped the track a couple of times and I'm off. I'm completely off track because I want to go somewhere else. And I'm trying to get my train back. So while I get my train back, she'll
Let me
finish.
jump in.
Yeah.
They refuse to play
The blame game.
blame game. You know what? As I'm reading this question, I just realized that habit. I know,
Right?
whatever,
My
keep
God.
calling it habit.
You keep calling questions.
Oh my God. But anyways, coming back to this point, to these habits, it makes me realize that a lot of these habits have to do with us, with self mastery, with self control, with self discipline, with self leadership, with really working with ourselves. It's something that before it becomes a reality in the relationship, or even before it translates into the relationship, is actually something that is happening individually inside of us. Because I've come to realize again, they refuse to play the blame game, not blaming, not going into pointing fingers. So I said all that at the beginning to say what? That we really have to work like, or at least that's what has happened for us. We really have worked like in our ego, right? Understanding that, with our life, we have a lot of baggage that we're carrying on. There are traumas, there are different backgrounds. Like, I mean, you name it. There are so many things, right? That are part there. Is like a whole piñata there, right? So no blaming it takes a maturity, a spiritual maturity, an emotional maturity for you to not be pointing fingers, even if let's say that the mess that is happening right now is because it was the lack of judgment. Let's say in this case, let's say my baby did something, reacted, say something, whatever, anything, whatever. It's something, he said something came from his part towards me, and then now there is this mess. And then we went and went and went and went. We then managed that snowball, and then it grew and grew and grew. And then, okay, we're right here. So what are we gonna do about it right now? What you were saying at the beginning, okay, it doesn't matter who it was. The point is that it needs to be fixed. We need to resolve it. We need to move on the relationship over the circumstances. But let's say in this case, my ego may want to really come out and want to be heard. Yes, but you started because this, and that, and you know better because this, right? It is very easy to go and do that. But it takes a lot of maturity to just, ground yourself, take a deep breath, understand that you're not going to be part of that snowball growing and that momentum growing. And then you just pull yourself back. And now you are not blaming. But now it's like, now we're in a position of like, how are we going to fix this? One. And number two, what can we do so this situation doesn't repeat again? Because that's the bottom line. It's not about just fixing all the time, right? It's not about being super patient with each other. Well, all that is part of it. But the bottom line is, okay, what did we learn of this? And what can we do so we're not in this spot again? That's the bottom line. But so then they refuse the blame game. That has something that, again, it starts with a personal commitment. It takes to be, like the bigger person to just not go and point fingers. It's like, think of parents and a child. The child did something maybe, and now there is a whole mess. Maybe the child, I don't know, forgot to leave the door open in the car, and then something was stolen, right? And now the parents are like, are they going to be angry with the kid? Well, maybe, yes, but are you going to be blaming? Like, what is that going to do? Is that going to fix it? If anything, in this conversation needs to take place, put everything out there, crystal clear of what happened, not to blame, but to be present of what happens, what are the consequences with what we do or we don't do.
And that goes, yeah, and to add to that, responsibilities, right?
Yeah, I think that we all can relate with that example of the parents and the stuff.
Yeah, the blame game is one of those things, like it doesn't matter how it started or who started it. What matters is how is it going to get dealt with, the result, right? I'm not going to start freaking out on her if she spills the cup of tea onto the computer. That's not, who cares what if the computer gets fried? It doesn't matter. What's going to happen? What are we going to do to going forward to repair the computer and or stop this from ever happening again? One, don't bring tea near the computer, right? or be more present to the computer, to your tea in front of the
to your
computer.
to you
Yeah, to
moving your body
exactly,
around. What are you
your-
gonna be knocking out with your
your
hands
area,
or something when you talk so much?
your surroundings, exactly. So I tend to move my hands a lot. I'm Portuguese, you know, and yeah, and I knock things over because of presence. I'm not present to my surroundings and what's around. So again, it's not about the blaming of what happened or who started it. It's more about how are we going to get it resolved and how are we not going to do this again.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
how we look at this habit, and I say we check mark that one. So,
Yeah, we check it.
and last, the final number, the final 17th habit, until I find some more. The final habit is they make daily sacrifices for each other. So that is absolutely true. I sacrifice way more for her than so. Oh, it's so yes, making daily sacrifices. So that would be like, for example, hey, I'm lazy, I'm tired. This is one example that just came to my mind because it happened today. I'm lazy, I'm tired. I really didn't.
You're tired. You're not lazy.
Really. Well, no, I felt lazy and tired. I'm putting it together. I'm just calling it as it is. I was lazy and tired. I didn't want to get up, but you know what? My mouth was super thirsty. I was super dry. I knew she was the same because we both went the same amount of time without any water. So 90% of the time, chances that she went the same. So I was lazy. I didn't want to get up. I was hoping she would. But you know what? I said, screw it, sacrifice, get up. Got up, went over, grabbed a glass of water for me, drank it all down, filled it back up, brought it to her. She said she drank half of it. So not that
Half for you.
Yeah, she left half for me, of course, but she didn't realize that I drank a whole cup already. But that's besides the point. Sacrificing is like doing that little thing that you really didn't want to do, but it is for the betterment of the relationship and for the betterment of the person involved, right? For the people involved. And that's basically it's I'm not saying go sacrifice your life. No, I'm not saying that.
Don't not sacrifice your peace of mind.
Yes, don't sacrifice your peace of mind.
Don't sacrifice your values, your boundaries.
Your boundaries,
Not
exactly.
at all. Yeah.
So to finish up with the garden, okay, the garden is to us, okay, our relationship is like a garden. The soil would be the foundation of the relationship, what we've put in, everything that we put into it, and now the flowers are starting to grow, the seeds that we sowed are blooming, but sometimes we get those weeds that come in. The weeds are like our stressors, other people, routines that cause us to go into spiral downs, or routines that don't serve us, right? Habits that don't serve us. So those little weeds that come into the garden actually end up choking up the beautiful flowers that we got growing. Yeah. So you gotta watch out for the weeds. Set your boundaries. The boundary is that little fence around your garden so that the weeds and the insects and the animals don't come in, right? Sometimes those animals can be pretty destructive to our garden. Yeah. If you tend to them and make sure the boundary is set and say, hey, you can't pass this.
You can't pass this line, yeah.
And then the love, the water that we give the garden is the love. So we sprinkle love all throughout the day. If you watch the last episodes, there's actually that one episode where we're talking about how we sprinkle love throughout the day, how we check in with each other. That's us sprinkling the little water. You know? It's like so every garden, every relationship in your reality, in your life, is a garden all the time, everywhere. Your relationship with your boss, your relationship with coworkers, friends, family, it's all a garden. And if you don't tend to that garden, like they've actually done experiments where they have two plants, similar soil, similar conditions. They water it with water that's in a container that has a bunch of negative words. Then they water it with the water. Then they water the other one with another container that has nothing but positive words taped onto it. Each plant grew. One grew less shorter, and the other one flourished and grew big.
The difference was obvious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing in school. They had experiments with kids where they had one kid like a bunch of kids come and they spit negativity to this plant and then positivity to that plant. And that they did this
And they
for
did it over a time.
month. Yeah, for over a month. And they realized that the one that was being spit on with negativity was just stunted, ugly, dying. The one that was full of positive is all energy, all beautiful and flourishing. Again, like a garden, our relationships are like a garden. If you treat your friends, family, lover, anybody,
your finances, your health,
crap,
everything.
if you treating people like crap is like the weed, allowing weeds into your relationships. You don't want to do that. That's another thing. The ego is that ego can really allow those weeds to flourish and can even create the weeds quite a bit. So checking in with the ego, not allowing those weeds to take over, create your boundary around your gardens. This is my friends. This is the boundary I have with them. They know how far to take things. They know how they talk around me. They know not to do this around me because it'll upset me. So those are the boundaries I've set with people, and those boundaries are I make sure I keep them very, very tight. Same with this boundary. This boundary is the most important relationship in my life. And this boundary has got the highest wall. I'm talking about Game of Thrones kind of. There's an ice wall that nobody can climb. And if you try to climb, I guarantee you I will knock your ass down. This relationship, this garden will not be touched by weeds. And if it does if weeds do try to infiltrate it, I cut them up, man. Okay, so I'm going a little too tangent. This is all about sacrifices for each other, right? So sacrifices for each other. They make daily sacrifices for each other. How would you?
I think that is you covered it all up. Yeah, it is something very simple, but as we were talking before, usually the most special things really they are not purchased with money, like they don't have a monetary label there, a value. Yeah, so the sacrifice, for example, of bringing the water, let's say the two of us are tired, okay, who's gonna get up first? All those little sacrifices is a sacrifice, and it's also just a show of love, like I'm tired and I'm still gonna come and bring this to you, or whatever the case might be. So for sure, all those little sacrifices well, first of all, for real, it is just a show of appreciation, a show of love, a show of I'm thinking about you. It is, you are important to me, how you feel, how this affects you. So, whatever decision I'm making right here, the sacrifice is having you with the greatest good, your greatest good in mind, right? So daily sacrifices, they can be even fun. I mean, it doesn't have to be like this big short thing, it's just, I guess that it comes just from an open heart and wanting to give. And that's when, these little sacrifices come like naturally, like spontaneously.
Here's a perfect example. I got a perfect example.
Do you?
A while ago, we got sick. Okay. I wasn't completely sick all the way yet. She got sick first, and then because she was sick, I did like we usually cook together, that's what we usually do. It's easier to do it. But hey, sacrifice, boom. I didn't deal. I put my phone away. I put everything to the side, and I said, okay, I'm gonna make breakfast for us. I'm gonna make our brunch. You stay there on the couch, relax, lie down, take a nap if you have to. So she actually took a nap. So I did that. I did the breakfast. I got everything all ready. I sacrificed the time of not being with her because she was over there on the couch. I wanted to cuddle her and take care of her. So I was taking care of her in another way, right? I was there, like the little things like that, little sacrifices. I don't even want to call them sacrifices, because the word sacrifice comes off so strong, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna sacrifice the lamb to prove my love. No, man, that word sacrifice is very strong for me.
Yeah, but you know what? It can be like, okay, what are we gonna watch in Netflix or whatever? Okay, you wanna watch that one? I'm not too keen on that one. Oh, I really wanna watch it. Okay, I'll sacrifice myself. Let's watch. It's a sacrifice. It's little ones, it's just basically saying, okay, I'll put my aside, let's go and do yours. But having said that, it's a dance. So the sacrifices cannot come always, from the same person,
Yeah.
It has to be, it has to flow, like river, like the water, like the air, it has to flow, going forward, coming back to you. You give it, you receive it,
Yeah, I can't think of any real sacrifices that I made other than the little things that I do to make her feel special. The little things that I do to show her how much I love and appreciate her presence in my life. So I don't, again, I can't feel like they're sacrifices because everything I do, it's always for the betterment of the relationship, always for the betterment of us. So if it makes her happy and it makes me happy, we're good. If it makes just her happy and me angry, that ain't good. It has to be this. It has to be a two-way street. Happiness is both ways.
Yeah, but that's where the sacrifice comes into place. That if, let's say, I'm more keen into it, but you are not, you are like, okay, let's go.
I was gonna into that. So that. So, and again, unless it's really damaging to me, because I may not like what I have to do to make her happy. I may not completely like it, but if I know that in the end it's going to make her happy and better my life because I actually did it, like doing the laundry is something that we both share and do. But if she's feeling sick and I do it, I may not want to do it, but if it doesn't get done, it's not going to benefit the both of us, right? So it may be something that you don't want to do at the very moment, but if it's going to benefit both of you, the relationship together, then yeah, let's do that sacrifice. Let's sacrifice that little thing. You know what I mean? It's like, do we sacrifice?
But you see, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
But again, that goes to the same place of what I was saying before, that all these habits really come internally, and it's a matter of self-mastery, self-discipline, and self-leadership. Let's say with the example of the laundry. If at that moment, for example, you are thinking of it, oh man, I don't want to do the laundry, but okay, let's do it because it's not going to benefit. But guess what? In choosing to do it, you were disciplined enough to go and take care of it, because you could have very well, say, oh, what, screw it, I'm not going to do it. Right? Yeah, I'm not going to do it. So that in itself is a sacrifice. I don't really want to do it, but definitely is the entire week is going to roll better, as opposed to just building this mountain of clothing. But anyways, it's just there, I guess, where the real sacrifice comes into place. But it's not really like huge. It's just. It's not. But again, you're
not sacrificing your life, man. You're not sacrificing an arm.
Your well-being.
Again, as long as you're not sacrificing the peace of mind that you're gonna go crazy and start going postal on everybody, it's like no,
or depressed or anything. No. Sacrifice is just. It's just
not killing us, right?
It's mostly like when you have to make a decision between the two of you when you're gonna do something together, and then it's like, okay, like you want something different, I want something different. Like, what are we gonna do? Okay.
She wants Italian, I want Chinese or Japanese or sushi or whatever. You know what I mean? That's okay. I'll sacrifice my cravings for your Italian. All right, read this one on a tangent. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first episode of Relationships.
This is our fifth episode, but it's being the whole series.
Our very first series. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our first series on relationships. There's more to come. We got another set of slides that we're going to go through, and it's about psychology. So we're going to see if we can do that. So if we can integrate that psychology into our relationship, and whether we have started using that psychology in relationships as well. We're also going to have more series, more different topics coming up, like education, financial, business mindsets, opportunities. We're going to have all kinds of different series and episodes, but one most important one that I want to make really big announcement or big light on. I want to bring out a big light on this is that we're going to be starting a feng shui as well. We're going to be actually doing feng shui tips, feng shui, mastering kind of
Yeah,
thing, you
tips
know.
to
Yeah.
improve your
Thank
space.
you.
Yeah.
Suggestions and tips, and that's again to improve the chi and energy flow of your space and maximize all the potential in your life. That is all we got to say for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening to us and watching us grow together.
Yeah.
And we look forward to growing with you in our journey of relationships and other things.
In other aspects, yeah. Thank you so much. Let us know, share with us. What do you think? Again, we just started this series because a lot of our friends, a lot of the people that we have talked with in the community and everything, they value
Our opinion.
yeah,
Our
which
advice.
is it is reflective, like just walking the walk and then just reflecting and just see how can we improve the walk, and that's been the dynamics. And so then a lot of people were asking, why don't you share, what has worked for you. So this is the disclaimer: we're not like professional like therapists here or couples counselor or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're just here really just to give from our heart, from our journey, from our experiences, what has been successful for us, what has worked for us. And perhaps you can learn something, you can have some clarity about what to do next in your own life, right? In your own relationships. In this case, that we're talking about relationships. So that's it. That's all. That's what we're sharing here. That's why we decided to come on camera and keep it here, sharing with you, start within the community. If you have any particular questions, and if we face something like that and we were successful in, getting through the situation, we're more than happy, to share that with you. So just share in the comments,
sharing what worked for us and what's working for others. Like we do a lot of conversations with friends in private, and their relationships grow and flourish because of examples that we've given them from our journey. So they keep telling us, hey, you guys should start some sort of show or a live or a podcast about relationships, because there's a lot of people out there that really need this. And we agreed. We are seeing quite a few people who would benefit from different experiences and journeys in relationships and other aspects of their lives. So yeah, we're starting this together because our experiences are helping others. So that being said, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Listen intently to your partner. Say what you really mean to say to them. Don't pussyfoot around them. I don't know where that word came from. I don't know why I even got it in my head. But don't blame anybody. It's nobody's fault. Just try to resolve the issue. And of course, do make those little daily sacrifices that bring happiness to both of you and your partner and your friends and your family and your boss. Okay. Anyways, go on.
Okay.
Bye.
Big hug. We'll see you later.
Yes, enjoy and look out for more videos. And we will be doing a live as well. Eventually, we're going to be setting that date soon. Have fun.